Hello and welcome to Cutting Through the Bull and the Post-Truth Apocalypse. I'm Ben. As always, I'm hanging out with Mike.
Hello.
Claire.
Hey.
And Pete.
Oh shit.
Are you going to say a foreign thing, wasn't you?
He's here anyway.
No, just do that bit. Pete.
And Pete.
No, do that again. Go on.
Yeah. Yeah, get on with it. You're there or you're not.
Murahaba.
There we go. Mother Hubbard.
Murahaba. Arabic.
Whatever.
Whatever.
This week we're talking about... This week it's a movie episode. We're talking about 300.
Oof.
The 2006 seminal Zack Snyder classic.
Yeah. Good film.
Meh.
You're not a fan?
I thought it was alright.
Yeah?
Just a bit, I don't know. Second time watching it, felt a bit cheesier than it did the first time round.
It has aged in cheesiness, I'll give you that.
I think it really has, and that I've not watched it since I watched it in the cinema when it came out. With
Oh, that's
Clair.
a long time.
And it was
It's a
with
long
Clair,
ass
which is
time.
really weird.
And it's a 2006 film. Wow.
Yeah, me and Claire went and watched it.
I think we watched it at the cinema together.
We did watch it, so yeah.
Ah, did you?
Well,
like
in a
that?
group with the friends.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
that was me and mine. No, we had more friends then. Back in 2006.
Yeah, alright, but yeah, I think second time watching it, because I've not watched it ever since, so yeah, first bits.
You've never watched this since...
No, I've seen
This is about the
bits
fourth or
and
fifth
bobs.
time I've seen it.
Oh God, I've watched it quite a few
I
times.
think I've seen like,
I usually highlight the best bits, like when they start killing each other.
I think I've seen maybe 20 minutes here and there on telly when it's been on telly, and I've
It's
just caught
easy
a
watching,
bit of
isn't it? When it's just on.
Yeah, if you've been
TV,
pitched, just stick it
what-
on.
Yeah, stick it on. You know, you're gonna know the end. If you fall
Yeah.
asleep, it's not too bad.
That's it, innit? Before we get too fully into it though, we went off a tangent there, I do apologise, listener. Let's thank some new and returning listeners. Haiti in Yardley in Pennsylvania, Telford in the UK, Luxembourg, London in the UK, Seattle, Washington, Dublin, Ireland, Broadstairs in the UK, Lovelock, Nevada, Barrie in Canada. Barrie.
not South Wales.
No, just Canada. Bengaluru, India, Frankfurt am Main in Germany, Flushing in New York, Spring, Texas, Guadalajara, Spain, and Ashburn, Virginia. Thank you very much for listening. Hugely appreciated. Follow us on Facebook at Cutting Through the Bull and the Post-Truth Apocalypse. YouTube is Apocalypse Bull. Like and subscribe to that, please. And SoundCloud and most other podcasting platforms is Cutting Through the Bull in the PTA.
Indeed.
Absolutely. Right, let's start with this. So from the comic by Frank Miller, who was also responsible for
Sin City.
Sin City, and I believe he did the Dark Knight Rises as well.
You can't tell. Certainly Sin City and that, it's all very similar, stylish.
I love the style of this film though. Don't you?
Sort of
The
moody,
colours
I
are
did.
amazing.
moody, gloomy.
First time round I did.
It's desaturated, isn't it? It's almost
Yeah.
sepia in places.
It is, yeah. Well, it was in
Yeah.
Sparta.
Yeah.
So in Sparta, it's almost a sepia filter, you're right, yeah.
But I think more so it's because there was no other colours there, it was just corn fucking fields. Dry corn
Pete,
fields.
this is 480 BC, there's cornfields everywhere!
That's what I mean. That's why it looked sepia, because it was just, there was no green and other colours, it was just that and red.
Well, it's Greece, isn't it? It's an arid country. You got corn and you've got dirt.
But I can't think of a film before this that looked that way.
Wasn't
No.
Gladiator right before this?
Yeah, but it didn't look like that.
No, but it was still a little bit moody.
Gladiator was 2001.
Gladiator was a little bit
Now,
moody.
how old do you feel now?
Yeah, no, it was very much so. It was like one of the early films to give those
I don't know, I think...
moody settings.
gloomy, that's what I call it, you know.
I get what you mean, the start of Gladiator in particular, but the uniform, I don't know, it's...
But they don't sort of use the colours the way they use
No,
it here.
No, they don't. And this
But there was
film
definitely filters over the...
Yeah.
over
Now, this
the
film
It
is
accentuates the red, obviously.
magnificently filmed. The colouring,
Cinematography is beautiful.
And I think they use that because the blood and things, like the cape and the blood, it accentuates the red. So whatever filter they've used, it's like some kind of red filter that allows the red to come through more prominent, which is probably why there's a slight sepia effect, because it's that slight red tinge.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And some of the backgrounds look like matte paintings in a way.
Well, they are, that's why.
Well, yeah.
I mean, literally, Zack Snyder has a thing when he does a comic book film, he likes to lift individual frames from the comic book and put them onto the screen.
Like he did with Sin City.
I don't know if he directed Sin City. Did Zack Snyder direct Sin City?
Oh, well,
Not
it's very
sure.
similar styling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's taken from that comic, but I mean, he did 300. Sorry, he did 300. This is 300. He did Watchmen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Lots of big blue penis in that, though.
There was, but you
Too
know what?
much for me.
Fucking awesome movie.
I thought you were going to say fucking awesome penis.
You know what? It is,
Fucking awesome penis.
Pete, it is a fucking mighty dong.
In all fairness, when he gets big, that would.
It is a mighty blue dong.
Far too much of it on screen, though.
And Batman Superman, he created.
Again, far too much penis in that.
Which version? I think you might have downloaded the wrong version, Pete. Was it Dong Man versus Super Anus Man?
No, come to think of it, I just thought it was like a Spanish spelling on the front instead. Oh, that explains it. Yeah.
Is it Batty Man?
Batsy man.
Batty Man versus Super Anus.
With his Kryptonian fucking dildo.
That's so politically incorrect. I do apologise.
I don't
We're talking about 300 anyway. Zack Snyder starring
There's a lot
in
of
this.
batty men in there, wasn't there?
Yes, there was. Yes, there was. So starring Leonidas is Gerard Butler.
Never been a massive fan. Maybe that's something else about the movie.
I think he's an average actor. I think
What else
he's.
has he been in?
Oh,
He did that Fall of London, didn't he?
He's in all that, ain't he? That London Has Fallen,
That's it.
Olympus Has Fallen, that kind of stuff. And he did a good film called Law Abiding Citizen.
I've always
That's
thought.
decent.
That's
I've
decent.
always thought he's a cheap Liam Neeson.
I don't rate Liam Neeson that highly.
I think I prefer to watch Liam Neeson than him, though.
I wouldn't want to watch Liam Neeson's Leonidas though.
Well, he's an old man, isn't he?
So was Leonidas
Yeah,
at this
a bit
point, but we'll get into that. Lena Headey as Queen Gorgo, David Wenham as Delos, he's the guy with one eye. But he ended up referring to him as one eye at some point. Dominic West as Theron, the slimy politician, and Rodrigo Santo as Xerxes, Santoro, sorry. We start off with a brief overview of Spartan society. It's a brutal Spartan society, wasn't it?
A little bit.
I
But
mean,
they didn't do that, did they? They didn't throw
No.
the babies if they weren't.
no, they
strong enough.
didn't. They didn't throw babies off a mountain. Well, if they did, let's put it this way: no archaeologist has ever been able to find evidence of it.
That's because baby's bones is very brittle.
I don't know.
Wash away too
Is it-
quickly.
The wolves are probably eating them.
Well, you gotta also remember the Spartans were quite secretive and never really let out a lot about themselves. A lot of writing of the Spartans comes from the Athenians, who didn't like them very much. So it might have been a thing.
Portrayed a bit barbaric.
No one's found any archaeological evidence that babies are thrown off a mountain, but it turns out that that's what, in this film, that's what happens. If you're not up to it, if you're not going to be a proud Spartan warrior, you get chucked off a mountain. There's worse ways, I suppose.
Yeah, you're not going to last too long, are you? If you drop into the sea.
It's not interesting, you're just on some rocky outcrop, Claire.
Oh, I thought it was
They're throwing babies off cliffs.
Yeah, it's not
I thought you might have been against that.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Claire wants a Spartan society, really, don't you? Except run by women.
Yes. We'll get to that.
The Spartinas.
Actually, women in Sparta were virtually not quite on a par with the men, and this had quite a matriarchal role. It was like, you will have kids, you will be a great mother, you need to raise the next generation of Spartan soldiers, but you also need to train them to be men in the meantime, up to the age of 7 anyway. Death in childbirth is the only thing that got you a gravestone in ancient Sparta, you know, as a woman.
Cool.
Yeah.
They just tossed the corpse off the cliff.
No, it got you a proper resting spot and a
No, I mean the
gravestone.
ones that weren't.
No, they just probably burned them. But without memorial.
After fucking them, probably.
No, I think just fuck the corpses, Pete.
Well, they did like to shag everything.
Ancient Greece wasn't down for necrophilia.
That we know of.
Well,
Just a bit of buggery.
it's a lot of buggery.
Not a bit.
A lot of buggery. We get to because young Leonidas fighting his dad, so it's this whole never retreat, never surrender. He's drilling these lessons into him, and he's probably like 4 or 5 here. He's like tiny until he comes to the age of 7 when he joins the Agogi. That's where Spartan youths go. They're taken away from their parents. If you're a certain class of Spartan, from the age of 7 till 18, you are trained to be a soldier, and that's it. You're beaten, you're punished, you're given shitty food, you're encouraged to stay up and get punished if you get caught. Because it's teaching you to be sneaky, be cunning. It's the ultimate soldier education. It's been that way for 300 fucking years.
Based on survival, innit?
Yeah.
Tough times, weren't they?
Well, breeding this just race of supermen in a way. I mean, they're all ripped to shit. They're all prepared to die. Death in service to Sparta is like the greatest thing you can have. That gets you a gravestone if you're a man. If you die in service of Sparta, other than that, you just like toss the winds. Off you go. Yeah, Leonidas, he says he's older, he's sent out in the woods, in the mountains, isn't he? And there's a fucking giant black wolf. And he kills it in his pants.
They do a lot of killing in their pants.
Yeah, there is, isn't there?
Underpants to American listeners.
Underwear, yeah.
Yeah.
He returns with wearing just his underpants and the wolf, and he's proclaimed as king on the spot.
Badass, innit?
It's one of I assume his dad's dead at that
Kill
point.
the wolf in your pants, mate. You can be king.
Might give that a go. Go to the local zoo.
I was assuming he was next in line, that's why.
Well, yeah, but they had to do the test of manliness, basically.
Yeah.
If he didn't pass it, he wasn't manly enough to be king.
Or he'd be dead.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? He wouldn't have been manly enough to be king because he wouldn't have been there.
So I killed the wolf, but it fell off a cliff.
Still not dead.
It's true.
Technicality.
Yeah. We then cut to Delos, who's still got 2 eyes at this point, and he's telling this tale of the Spartan army, and he just sets the scene, doesn't he? Like, Xerxes is invading, the Persian Empire is huge, he wants to add Greece to it, he's going to snuff out the one light of democracy in the world, which only the Athenians really had democracy at this point. The Spartans, remember, they talk a lot about freedom in this film.
But they're like their slaves, didn't they?
The Spartans were massive slave owners and had a king.
They
Well,
didn't
had 2
mention
kings.
that, really, did they, in the film?
No.
No.
They kind of brushed past that one, didn't they?
What was the ratio, Ben? 10 to 1?
10 to 1, yeah.
10 slaves to every Spartan.
You had 3 classes in Sparta. You had the Spartiates, who are the guys we see in 300. They're the full Spartan warriors. All they do is train. Train for war, that's it. No other work. Then you've got the freemen who just who support them. They're kind of like the middle class in a way. They make the armour, the weapons, the swords, the shields, they make the bread, they kill the animals.
The blacksmiths.
Yeah.
All that kind of, yeah.
And then you've got the helots who just do everything else and are usually treated really horribly.
Clean up all the poop from the streets.
Yeah, once every so many years the Spartans have got a war against themselves and try and kill some helots just to convince the slaves not to fight back because they had a few rebellions.
Then you got your politicians.
And they'd be Spartans, they'd be full citizens that maybe they can't fight or they're too old to fight now or they've been crippled in some way so they're no good on the battlefield.
Or they're just pussies.
Or they're just pussies like Theron because there looks nothing wrong with him.
No.
The Persians are invading now. In the film they say there's like millions of Persians. Historical accuracy puts it between 250,000 to 300,000, which is still a hell of a lot of people.
Especially in them days.
Yeah, it's unparalleled in the ancient warfare at this point.
There probably wasn't much more than a few million people back then anyway, was there?
Well, now the Persian Empire was vast. It would be millions. I mean, the population, to be fair, at that point.
About 500 million, wasn't it, for a long time before the Industrial Revolution?
That's what I'm trying to work out. I was thinking, in relative numbers across the whole world, I reckon it was a very small population in comparison to what it is now.
Oh, compared to now, yeah.
Well, look at 480 BC world population.
That's kind of what I'm going for.
Now, I love the next scene, the Persian emissary with his honour guard carrying the crowned skulls of vanquished kings. That's pretty sweet.
It's
Yeah.
fucking cheeky. I suppose it's sort of rubbing it in, isn't it? Like, well, almost inciting a bit of a...
Well, Leonidas thought so, didn't he?
He wasn't too happy, was he?
It's a threatening. It's not a nice thing, is it? Carrying all right.
No, then what you want? Oh, we want earth and water. Give us your land, submit to us, and we'll leave you. We'll absorb you in the empire. But you're gonna be slaves to us. You'll fight where we say, die as we say, and you get the famous. And I think
He also says if you kneel at our feet, we'll kneel at yours. So there is a bit where he's at first they're sort of
Let's work together almost.
yeah.
but the Spartans can't submit. Never retreat, never surrender, no submission.
Just to interject.
Is that their code?
The population around 500 BC, so around this time, was about 100 million.
Wow,
So to have a 500,000, 250,000 army, that's
Substantial.
0.5% of the world population.
No, that's the army you're invaded with, plus the
That's what I
navy,
mean.
which is your largest in the world,
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
plus the logistics chain behind you.
They had such a huge army that it at that point it was almost unbreakable.
What was the
Yep.
Greek army?
Well,
Combined Greek army.
Well, Greece was spread into 700 city-states at this point. There was about 70 city-states decided to stand against the Persians. Sparta was allied with about half of them. The Spartans could put like 10,000 Spartiates, so your 300 guys into the field, plus lesser guys. You got Athens on your side, who's the biggest navy. You got all these other sides, the Arcadians, the Thespians, they're all sending guys.
At the end of the film, it says they got 30,000. Is that about right?
There's no reason they couldn't have assembled that.
So it's that number 10-1.
It's stated in that they were outnumbered 3-1, didn't it? That was with 40,000 men.
Yeah.
So that puts them at 120,000 strong at that particular army.
Yeah.
So that does sound kind of accurate if you think about it, because that wouldn't have included the
Casualties
navy,
taken, yeah.
the navy that got battered in the waters, all that kind of thing. So
That's true. Plus, you would have split parts off to go and be Marines on the fleet that's taken on the Athenians up at Salamis.
So bits like that sound plausible.
Yep. Anyway, we're glossing over what I think was one of the most iconic modern movie scenes. Oh, this is Sparta. I'm not going to scream it down the microphone at you, listener. But this is Sparta and the Sparta kick
Yeah.
into the...
I just put down here, note to self, never insult a man with a deep well.
Never stand on the edge of that well and insult him either.
Not wise.
No.
I put who the fuck has a death hole in the house?
in the middle of the city, it's like death hole.
Get pissed at night and you wouldn't know. You forget it's there. Oh,
Remember me? Where's Homer gone?
Right,
See,
death hole.
that first 10 minutes for me, that was. This is what I kind of felt in that first 10 minutes, that when it came out in 2006, you had all these slow-mo 3D kind of effects, yeah?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this is good, because it was new, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
I like that new style. It was like, oh,
Matrix was
this is
before
different.
that, wasn't it?
Matrix was 99.
The Matrix
Yeah,
was.
so
It was different though. Matrix had different. That had the 3D shots, didn't it?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that was very different.
It was a bullet time. Was the effect they used in the Matrix?
But it was good then, anyway, in 2006. Rewatching it now, nearly 20 years later, 16 years later, the style has been done over and over and over in lots of different films since. There's been a lot of copycat style.
So, what you're saying is, right, that basically this was fantastic when you first saw it.
It's just
but now you've been that oversaturated with this style.
It's underwhelming.
It's underwhelming to you.
And not just that, there's been that many piss takes of it as well.
Yeah, Meet the Spartans. That was also terrible though.
Yeah, but you could, South Park, Family Guy.
Yeah.
There's been so many different piss takes of this. There's been all sort. Other programs have done it.
United 300.
The sketch on. We'll have a watch of that after.
Memes keep on repeating.
Yeah. But I think.
I still
with
think it holds
that-
up. Personally, I like it.
But this is the first 10 minutes for me, and what I felt as well is like there was slow-mos and dramatic scenes where they didn't need to be in that first 10 minutes. For instance, they do a fucking slow-mo dramatic scene on Leonidas' fucking dirty sandal-ridden feet with just a little bit of dry grass blowing, and it spends about 30 seconds slow-mo
30
looking at
seconds
his
on his
fucking feet, and it's just like, why?
Building the tension before he kicks it,
But
isn't it?
his feet!
He's looking at his feet.
Just look at some dirty toenails and sandals. Why not look at his face?
He's
doing that?
CGI'd his toe fungus out, Pete. He's CGI'd abs onto him, for God's sake.
But they could have quite easily just done like a focus on his face looking all serious. Why his feet? But it was my point was that they're doing all these little slow-mo dramatic scenes. I think were a bit needless at that
There's
point.
a lot of them at this
that
point.
There was
Like,
too
save it
many
for the
that
blood
were-
sprays, you bastards.
Well, this is it, because when it does get, I go further in a bit later on when you get to the fighting scenes, and it's like, okay,
They're fucking
even
awesome.
now
Yeah.
I'm seeing these scenes and thinking, oh, actually, yeah, I know why they did it now because it does look cool.
Yeah.
But those kind of same effects on his feet at the beginning of it didn't hold the same.
That might be a frame for the
Gravitas.
comic. You know, just you can say.
Yeah.
So Leonidas goes to the E4s or the priests of Sparta. They kind of, although he's the king, he can't really do much. They're them giving the yay or nay.
Yeah, they're worthless, rotten, corrupt, inbred swine.
And he climbs to a fucking mountain to see him.
And I put no difference to our elites then.
Oh, you had to get it in, didn't you?
I did.
By the way, if you do live in Tory Trinity Ward and you want to vote for me, that'd be great. Vote Labour. Vote Councillor Carter. So yeah, he can't go to war without the ethos blessing. So he has to he bribes them with gold. He just throws in a massive pouch of Spartan gold and goes, there you go.
And they still don't give him what he wants.
No, they drug a young girl and have her dance erotically for a bit. And
They've taken the Xerxes shilling, haven't they?
They have, yeah, and then she whispers something completely indecipherable, apart from Carnea, and he's like, right, no, you can't do that, the Carnea is a religious festival, you can't go to war, you can't send the full Spartan army to war. Which was that was the case historically. This was the month of the Carnea, and the Spartans were like, well, we can't send the full army, but we can send some of it. Because, you know, we need to celebrate this religious festival. You're not supposed to go to war during it. But the Persians
He
do
doesn't
that.
send an army, does he?
No, in the film,
He just goes for a walk.
he goes for a
takes
walk with
his
his 200
personal-
bodyguards.
Yeah.
But the thing originally was exactly the same. They couldn't commit the full army because everyone's on leave celebrating.
Did he make the same excuse in real life then?
No, they knew that this was coming. But obviously the religious festival was on. And the Olympics were on. And Sparta, surprisingly, did incredibly well at the Ancient Olympics.
Bet they did.
He had to sit in there, laying out his tactics. They still tell him to fuck off. So, but he did go. Originally, he went to the Oracle of Delphi, which was the famous oracle in ancient Greece. Everyone went there if they were going to make a huge decision.
Right.
For example, before Leonidas went, the Athenians went. And they went, right, we just uncovered a lot of silver, a massive silver mine. It's going to be really valuable. What should we do to defend Athens? We need to use this money to defend Athens. What should we do? The oracle said, put your faith in the wooden wall. What does that mean? You build a wooden stockade around the city? What do you do? They took it as building a navy. So they built a massive navy. That navy then smashed the Persians later on. The oracle's right, isn't it?
I'd have took it a bit more literal than that.
Just build a giant wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he would have
You
been...
weren't in charge then.
Yeah, because you would have looked a bit of an idiot when they set fire to it.
Yeah.
Shit, we shouldn't have built this out of wood.
Oh man, there's our silver gone. And half the woods of round Athens. The The Oracle at Delphi told Leonidas either Sparta falls or Sparta loses a king. So he knew at this point it's probably a suicide mission, historically. Not in, there's just that in the film, just that you can't go and fight. So he assembles the 300, and their best warriors were born sons.
So they could carry on their name.
You've done your job, you're a Spartiate, you're a first-class citizen, you've had a son, your job's done, you can die now.
Leaving a lot of bastards behind though.
Just one.
Oh, they're not bastards.
No, in Sparta, weirdly, the entire fucking community raised the kids. The kids were like, when they were under 7, they were grouped together in the day, and they were called herds. And like, you had a herdsman who had a whip, and he would whip them. Genuinely, this is true. I'm not making it up. But any parent, if the herdsman wasn't about, any parent could take control of the group.
A bit like it was like in the 80s then.
So a whole community was raised by the whole
Local
all the kids were
paedophile.
raised by the. Well, a lot of buggery went on.
Well, it did.
As that was the thing, see, when you
the
got
age
to a
of consent
certain.
was probably lower then as well.
I mean, there was an age of consent, I've
Exactly.
no idea. But like you see, as a Spartan, say you get to the like 16 in the Spartan warrior education system, you get paired off with an older warrior who's going to teach you other stuff like how to best survive on campaign, little tricks he's picked up over the years,
How to play the trombone.
how to play the trombone, and usually buggery. They would usually fuck each other.
Hence the trombone in.
Yeah, they believed it created a bond between
Strong
them.
unit bond, yeah. Like you say, do you ever said it earlier? I said it off air. Anal sex was so popular in Sparta that ancient Greeks used to describe someone who liked anal sex as having a Lacedaemonian anus.
And explain Lacedaemonian to people.
Lacedaemon is where Sparta is. I think I did say it earlier. It's the country where Sparta is. Sparta's a city. Lacedaemon is the country. That's why them big V's on the shield, that's a Greek L, that's upside down. To us, upside down and rotated round. Thing is though, Leonidas goes, that guy over there, captain, grizzled captain, isn't he? Obviously been mates for a while, seen some bowels.
Buggered a few times.
Quite possibly buggered a few times. Who can say? I don't know. I've no idea.
It's possible.
You completely throw me off a train of thought.
that guy, he has to send his son, and then he goes, I have other sons to replace
Yeah, I've got
me,"
other
so-
sons, but he's the best one, so he's coming too. But yeah, so all the other guys should have sons, and the film like really downplays the ages. So I point that out. All these guys would have been guys who Leonidas grew up with.
Right.
Leonidas was in his 50s at this point. These guys are like in their 40s and 50s, late 40s, early 50s.
Fucking hell.
And they're the grizzled veterans. They're his bodyguard, they're the Spartan knights.
They're all that old.
Most of them, there's a few youngsters in there, but the majority of them would have been like grizzled Spartan veterans who, for killing, was just was nothing to them. They march off through the cornfield, and they find the destroyed body. They come across the Arcadians, don't they?
Yeah, that village, it looks like it's been obliterated.
Yeah, but because the other Greeks who've come to join them. In reality, there was 7,000 other Greeks and the 300 Spartans. They were the core of the army. But Leonidas was in charge. But in this movie, we just get some Arcadians. We never get told how many they are, but they're pissed off that there's only 300 Spartans. And you get that great scene where it's like, oh, then what's your profession? He's like, I'm a sculptor. What are you? I'm a blacksmith. Oh, I'm a painter. He goes, what, Spartans? What is your profession? And they're like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Buggering again.
They're all professional buggers.
Yeah, that's it. They're all buggering at that point. That village though was quite creepy with all the people nailed to a tree.
Yeah. Yeah, they find them after the burnt out village, don't they?
Give me the willies.
What an erection!
Now he's collecting all the willies. I'll have all the willies. There's at least 30 on there.
Bags of the willies.
I'll put the one in my sink with the others in a jar.
Look, boys, I got a bag full of willies. Hey! Skipping along with his bag full of willies over his shoulder.
happy as a sandboy.
Right. You get the immortal line. The immortals will put their name to the test. Hence referencing the Persian immortal elite soldiers. Always 10,000 of them. Never more, never less. Always 10,000. To the point where they reckon there was another 10,000 guys just to replace the ones they lost.
Really?
Yeah, they weren't demon-faced orc-men, were they?
No, not in reality, no. They weren't demon-faced orc-men. That's very true.
Bit racist,
This was
though,
the
innit?
point of the film that lost me again for a little bit. Because I did think, like, the superhuman, immortal, fucking, I don't know, orc-like, bloody monstrous demon. What the fuck?
It's just trying to strike the fear into you, isn't it? You know, and if it was somebody imagine writing like something like that on the battlefield, and you know, really, they're like demons coming at you, aren't they?
Yeah, but actually making
They're
them...
all wearing masks and whatnot.
A little bit racist, though, isn't it? It's like the Persian army, their best men have to be demons. They can't be humans, can they?
With like 8-foot tall, Orokai-like...
I think they're suggesting that maybe that because the immortals and the Persians are seen as being a bit black magic-y, aren't they, in this film? There's a lot of because they get resurrected and they die, they come back a bit more weird every time.
But it's
Something like that. You think that's what it's implying?
Maybe.
I didn't think about that at all.
Maybe.
Really.
They're like almost like
Didn't you?
I didn't consider that at all. I was just like, well, they're just trying to, make the viewer feel like a bit scared for these 300 men.
Make the stakes a bit higher.
I just thought that the guy who wrote this was a fan of Lord of the Rings.
No.
That's all I thought.
Because the real thing behind the Immortals, isn't it, is that
There was always 10,000
Yeah,
of
it's
them.
just enough
replenish,
to replace.
yeah.
Yeah. One dies, doesn't matter, he's replaced.
We have skipped ahead a little bit, to be fair.
We have.
We've arrived at the hot gates, there's a storm, there's loads of Persians everyone's cheering. Stunning visuals on that scene as well, the rain slashing in, they're holding their shields up to block the rain. I thought it was cool.
Oh, yeah.
In the meantime, the next day they wake up and the ships are all still there. That's how big the Persian fleet is. And they did lose a quarter of it historically in that storm. There was a storm. In the meantime, Queen Gorgo goes to talk to a senator who looks a lot like Abraham Lincoln.
he wouldn't be welcome in Sparta, would he, with his emancipating ways?
No, he wouldn't. No, he would not. Then again, Mikey would be a product of his times, wouldn't he?
Well, he was a product of his time in America.
Yeah, but there was already a strong emancipation movement at that point when Lincoln took over. There's no emancipation movement in Sparta because a couple of times a year you go off and kill a load of them just to prove that you're still top dogs. She wants him to send the rest of the army to back up Leonidas, which is a reasonable request. In the meantime, though, we go back to Thermopylae, the hot gates, and it's called the hot gates, by the way, because they had natural hot springs there.
Not because there was boobs in the wall or anything.
No, but there's plenty of bodies in the wall that the Spartans are building.
I thought it was because they were wearing hot pants. Hot gates.
Hot gates, hot pants.
Yeah. Where are we going? The hot gates, right. Wardrobe.
Yeah, what's not known about the Spartan armies and a massive trail of wardrobe following behind them.
For each destination, they had a different outfit that matched the circumstance.
But always the red cloak.
And a huge amount of body oil.
Funny enough, yes, you're absolutely right. A huge amount of body oil.
Helps the buggery.
No, it's boiling grease.
It's not even that. When the Spartans were like, before they went into battle, they had prepared themselves to die, so they used to oil their bodies, comb their hair, wrestle a bit nude, gymnastics, maybe some buggery, right? And the Persians who had sent a spy on them were like,
didn't they used to tie bows and shit in their pubes and things? And
no, I don't know.
They used to groom
Another one of
themselves.
Mike's fantasies.
They did used to groom themselves down there as well. I'm pretty sure. I remember seeing it on QI.
They all had long hair, the Spartans,
That's a dreamt
as
it.
well. They used to sit there combing their long hair, which was uncommon in Greece at the time of having long hair.
I reckon he dreamt it.
I think he might have dreamt it. But the Spartans had long hair because some of them got facial scars. It kind of covered their face, so they were like, "Hey, long hair covers all the scars."
Chicks.
Women,
dig
yeah,
scars.
chicks dig scars, don't they?
They do, that's true. When you got like massive gashes across your forehead and stuff, though, it's a bit off-putting, I guess.
Yeah, not scarred like that big giant ogre thing.
No, that was pretty scarred, wasn't it? We'll get to them though. The Spartans have built a wall with Persian bodies.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
And there's that emissary there, he's being carried by a bunch of dudes on a big chair. He's like, oh, you'll pay for your barbarism. Tries to whip him, but Michael Fassbender, who's in this movie weirdly. He's in a lot of movies weirdly though, isn't he?
Well, he's an actor, it's his job.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, he just plays weird characters. He cuts the guy's arm off, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, he flies right in there, doesn't he?
And then he gives the guy who's there bleeding out with his arm, gives him a bit of a diatribe. Says, the 1,000 nations of the Persian Empire descend upon you. Our arrows will blot out the sun. And he says, oh, we'll fight in the shade then, won't we? Which is a direct quote as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Really
Witty.
comeback.
The Spartans were known for their quips. The term laconic, you have a laconic sense of humour, comes from Lacademia, the word. So years later, when the Spartans were less powerful, the Macedonia, where Alexander the Great came from, his dad threatened Sparta and said, if I invade your country, I'll take all your women as slaves, I'll kill you all, steal all your money, and no one will remember you. And the Spartans sent back a one-word reply, if.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Famous quote, that, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll fight in the shade is another one. Yeah, we'll fight in the shade then. We then see Ephialtes, the deformed guy who's been followed all the way from Sparta.
Yeah.
Oh, the sloth.
The sloth. Is that your calling?
You guys.
He is a bit of a sloth, you're right. He tells Leonidas there's a goat path that can go round and outflank their phalanx, which you don't want.
I thought he looked more like Hunchback of Notre Dame.
He's got a bit of everything going on, really, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And he was a Spartan who was too malformed and had thrown him off a cliff. His parents fled Sparta, smuggled him out, but his dad taught him how to fight like a Spartan. And he's really proud of himself, isn't he? Like, look at my spear thrust. Ugh. And Leonidas says, right, well, okay, lift your shield up. Oh, you can't do it. We protect each other from thigh to neck. In real life, people, right, the Spartans didn't fight bare-chested. Or I point this out at this point. They wore bronze sculpted breastplates, using abs, pecs. They looked the dogs, bronze helmets.
Like the one
A lot of artistic licenses.
A lot of artistic license movie, but no one's fighting their armour at this point. No matter how disciplined you are, or how skilled you are at combat, no one is fighting without some kind of armour. Especially the Spartans, the elite of the Spartan army.
You don't go into a battle in hot pants and a cape.
No.
It's like the Centurion armour is what they wear, isn't it? Like you see the Centurions on the horses.
Yeah.
That kind of armour that if you look at Gladiator, the film.
Go on, Clair. So
Yeah, go on.
Again, it's just to accentuate how hard they are.
Yeah, of course.
yeah, it's the discipline. Or we protect each other from thigh to neck.
So we don't need
So we
armour.
don't need any armour because we're so good.
I think it's a bit sad when he goes, oh, you can't come and fight with us.
It is a little bit.
Why didn't he just say, well, yeah, mate, get in there,
Well,
Get the back.
He could have been on the end. He
Just
doesn't
said-
at the end, does
You
it?
could be the first man in, mate.
Stick him at the front, I would have done. He wants to die for Sparta, let him.
Yeah.
Cannon fodder. Right,
Yeah.
come on.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't just throw a disabled person out at the front.
Go have a glorious death. Go on, sloth.
Is that you think should happen to disabled people, Mike? Sent to war zones trying to a human wave. Maybe we could turn their wheelchairs into little tanks, eh?
Strap bombs.
Good idea.
Strap bombs to them and wheel them out.
Give them.
Alright, not making them fucking.
Put them on little caterpillar tracks.
We're not about making them kamikaze.
Right.
Well, you know what? If the aliens invade, it might come to it.
Like Stephen Hawking little Dalek tank thing.
Pretty
They
much.
stick a little dome over him.
Yeah.
He's like, right, here's some little guns sticking out here.
Yeah.
That's what Mike wants. That's what society Mike wants.
That's it.
A Spartan society.
You will not have my freedom.
Don't forget your Semtex.
And your Claymore.
He could be the one that was going around stabbing, doing the secondary stabbing.
He could have been. He could have been. It breaks his heart because he throws his shield away. He's gutted.
Well done, father, you lied.
You lied to me, father. The Persians are on the attack. The ground's shaking. There's that many of them. So the Spartans formed their phalanx, and the little. It's a great shot actually of the little bronze line across the mouth of the cave, the what's it called, a pass. Lay down your arms.
It's like a metal turtle, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. The Persians, lay down your arms. Leonidas replies, "Come and get them." Still the motto of the Greek 1st Armoured Brigade today. Yeah, weirdly, that's it. Another line. Come and get them. Leonidas was a bit of a badass.
Oh yeah.
Especially for like 50 years old. Throws a spear, kills that dude, because why not? Gets another spear, even though no one seems to have any more spears, no one's carrying more spears. They all got one, and you never see any more dudes carrying other spears.
He had one in his banana hammock, obviously.
Is it magic?
Yeah.
We get the charge, dramatic moment, dramatic music. The whole spot.
Clash like a mosh pit.
They have a mosh pit moment, don't they? They collide the Spartan phalanx. The Greeks are wearing all bronze. They're a lot bigger than the Persians. The Persians are like wearing basically linen with wicker shields.
But these are just the slaves, aren't they? I assume.
The Persians they fight in the desert, so they're not wearing heavy armour. It's hot in that, isn't it?
It's just the first wave, though.
Yeah, they're not going to give
it
them
is. This is
fodder.
Yeah.
It is. And the Greeks fighting overhand, they've got the big shields, they're not rushing wildly towards the enemy, and they just go through them, don't they, the Spartans? A lot of slow-mo. A lot of slow-mo.
This was where the slow-mo was good. This is where it brings it back. It's like, this is where you want that slow-mo dramatic effect. Not looking at his feet. This is the time.
I like it when I take that leg off.
Yeah. That's the thing, they keep going, they have the phalanx, it's impenetrable. No FELTs, you can't fight in our phalanx. They all break out of it as soon as possible, don't they? They all get a bit blood drunk.
Yeah.
Off they
I
go.
was gonna say, it's really impressive. They move one shield at the side, someone jumps out, stabs somebody, and then sort of two other people move to sort of forward to get him back in.
Yeah.
And then when they break that, it's all hell breaks loose, isn't it, really?
Yeah, they just go for it. The Spartans just casually killing the wounded, they push a bunch of blokes off the cliff. We go back to Sparta, the city, where Queen goes meeting Theron, lecturing her on mothering because her kid runs off a bit.
He's a cheeky bugger.
He's not happy that she's going to meet the council, is she?
No.
Leonidas broke the laws. Then we get the immortals, don't we, next?
There's that threat from Theron.
Yes, there is, sorry.
To the Queen. He says, what does he say again? Oh, your son wouldn't want to be hurt, or
we wouldn't want the heir to the throne to be hurt, would we?
Or you. And she just swallows it. She just doesn't say shit. And at the time, you'd think, as a strong female, she'd have challenged it at least. I'd have stabbed him up.
How do you explain the councillor's body just left in the Spartan streets at that point, though?
Queen did it. Fuck it.
Well, I'm the
Screw
Queen.
you.
Who's going to question me? He
He attacked me, so I stabbed him up.
Yeah.
Shanked him in a back alley.
Self-defense, I think I'd have had to claim, wouldn't I, to get round that.
Yeah.
Gutted him like a fish.
Shank will be shanked.
That's it.
Shank will be fucked.
Yeah.
Xerxes, we get to see the God King Xerxes for the first time in this point, don't we?
Love to punch this cock.
This giant 8-foot tall golden man covered in piercings and painted gold, covered in gold.
Man that does look very, very pretty. He's got a very pretty girly face, isn't he?
He's got some bling on, isn't he?
He's certainly carrying some bling.
His eyes stuck to fuck.
I love the fact that the guy's carrying his massive chair all then become steps for him.
Yeah.
As he strides down off it, well, that's not bad, is it? I mean, I don't know. Do you want that if you're in charge? Do you want that when you're God King?
I don't know, you're going to get that when you're councillor.
I'm not going to get that as a councillor. Definitely not. I'm not considering it, Mike.
Benny Carter, God King, vote for me.
You'll be your last vote ever, make it count. After I'm proclaimed God King. No more voting.
God King of the Dawleyites.
Yeah. No more voting after that. And Xerxes tries to bargain with Leonidas, doesn't he? He says, come on, I'll let you be general of all Greece, you can carry my standard into Europe. You know, I've got the Spartans at the heart of my army, you'll be one of my closest aides, or my closest generals.
Good deal, to be fair.
It's a great deal.
Yeah, this is the guy that says we'll kneel at each other's feet. So, even, you know, that's quite big coming from
The God King
the
himself.
God King himself. So it's, you know, I don't think it was a bad offer, really.
No.
I don't think it's a bad offer. You'll be one of my top generals, and Leonidas is one of the top guys, top soldiers in Greece, isn't he?
Trouble is, he's selling at your people.
That's the problem, isn't it? They think as Greece is like, come on, we're all Greek. We might be always in different city-states, but we can't let our cultures go.
It's not like he's asking him to lick his balls, is it?
He probably kind of is, though. I think Xerxes, if he says kneel, I think he wants a blowjob. I mean, look at him, he's
but he's
hedonistic
gonna
as
kneel
fuck.
with
You
you
nail,
too.
like, if you nailed Xerxes, you wouldn't be able to reach, would you?
He'd squat down a little bit, presumably.
Is it proper blowjob height when he's standing?
But he's got them dudes to sit down already. Imagine being fucking having a crouch down to be Xerxes' blowjob stool. That's your job. You just have to get on your fours and support his ass cheeks while he gets blown. You can feel his balls slapping against his
Slapping
side.
against your fucking abs like that.
You better hope he doesn't get drunk and ask that guy with swords for arms to wank him off.
We'll get to him. Leonidas turns to us and says, yeah, Xerxes, you've got loads of slaves, but you've got few warriors, and, you know, by the time that I've killed all of them, the other guys ain't going to want to fight.
And I'm not licking your balls.
Exactly. And I can't kneel, I've got cramp from killing all your dudes.
Yeah. Tries to groom him a bit, doesn't he?
He does try to groom a little bit, he's like kneading his shoulders. The way you did it. The Spartans respond by building a wall of Persian bodies.
Yeah.
Like a giant wall. I mean, this wall is probably, 20 foot high, something daft like that. With a parapet of bodies for the Spartans to, sit on. The Immortals come at the right time. And they just, push this wall of bodies onto them. Which is quite horrific.
And they come bursting out, don't they? And
then they're like, we'll test how immortal these men are. Kind
Yeah,
of thing,
and then Leonidas chucked a spear through one of them, and it's like, oh, they're not immortal after all, are they? Oh dear, it's not going to go well for them.
in comes the troll-like orc.
Yeah!
That was huge, wasn't it, in comparison to all the men?
They've got him all chained up like he's a fucking troll in Lord of the Rings. This
Yeah.
is what really reminded me of that kind of thing, like when the trolls are being pulled along by the orcs and that, ready to bash down the fucking walls of the castles and shit.
It is an odd one. There's a bit of a fight in there.
He gets a sword through the bicep, the old orc. That was quite good, wasn't it?
Leonidas gets that axe thrown at him as he originally. He's pulled down by Delios, the guy who loses the eye. The bristles of his helmet crests get taken off, which is a nice slow-mo shot.
Yeah.
Admittedly, that's a good scene, that's a good bit.
Good use of it.
Obviously, then he has to do a fight with him. He gets his ass kicked initially a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He jabs a bloody spear point into his eye and then finds the troll guy's own sword and just takes his head off. And then he just gives the order to the Arcadians to charge at that point to flank him. Come down the side of the
They've been
hill.
hiding all this time.
They've been waiting, haven't they? He's in an ambush, they've been hiding in the
Hiding behind
rocks.
them Christmas trees.
Yeah, I wrote, out come the brawlers.
Out come the brawlers, yeah, they're not soldiers, they're just brawlers, they're just hacking and slashing. I mean, obviously every Spartan strike is a death blow, isn't it? They're that good.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Well, they were pretty fucking decent, weren't they? But in this movie, every strike they make's a death blow. we get more like battles. The Spartans are celebrating. They're beating these guys back. There's a big rhino comes charging at them. They send their beasts, and they you get the rhino. They have the elephants. The captain's son throws that spear straight into that rhino's eye. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Poor rhino.
I felt sorry for the rhino. I mean, he didn't want to be there. He should have featured in our War Hero Animals episode, that rhino.
They should have had about 50 of them.
That would have worked.
One was pointless.
Well, it wasn't. He had a big point on the end of his nose.
Yeah, you did, yeah. No, you're right.
Boom.
The elephants were kind of... But the elephants and horses won't charge at spears.
They don't like pointy objects, generally. They're a lot savvier than other animals.
So historically, for the Persians, who rely on a lot of cavalry as well, because they operate in massive wide desert areas where cavalry is fantastic, against a narrow contained force, horses won't charge spears.
Nah.
And remember historically as well, we've got 7,000 other Greeks there. You know, it's not just the 300 Spartans historically. They're the core of it, but they're rotating their lines. They're all staying fresh. A narrow choke point. Holding their own here. It's all looking good, it's all looking peachy. Back to the film though. Cool, some more slow-mo fighting. The captain's son and Michael Fassbender are out there kicking some ass, aren't they?
They got Mr. Knife Hands has come in as well. That's what I wrote down.
Sorry, how can I forget Mr. Knife Hands there? 'Cause he's just killing his generals. He's not happy, is he?
No, I put Mr. Knife Hands. I suppose they had to spice it up.
Mr. Knife Hands is a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're like, that's definitely
He's
a
built for the
slot.
role, though, isn't he?
Hey,
He's built for the role.
if that's the only role he ever gets,
Or chopping vegetables.
I doubt he's got something on the cooking channel like. Just by looking at him.
Yeah, no one's going to want to eat his food.
I mean, how does he take stuff out the oven? He's just got nice hands. He's like, oh, today we're going to prepare these fresh vegetables, Mr. Nice Hands. Done. Okay, you can go now. I don't need you anymore. I mean, he looks like fucking... He looks like a bigger version of Sloth.
Yeah.
With more piercings and knives for hands. He's not going to get a job as a talk show host, is he?
Or a juggler.
No, definitely not a juggler.
Again, though, just another ridiculous monster-like being that doesn't look human.
Pete, you do not look impressed.
Well, no, because it was those little bits, like these monsters that look like they're from Lord of the Rings or fucking, I don't know, Dante's Inferno or something. They really do. That's the one bit. It's like, okay, it's tried to be quite historically accurate. And then it goes batshit crazy. And like
You don't know there wasn't a Mr. Knife Hands.
Yeah, but it's like when the big fucking ugly orc fucker he got stabbed in the bicep and he just pulls it out. It's like he's not fucking Superman. He's not superhuman. It wasn't. It was just little bits like that because any living man, whether you're fucking 7 foot tall or 12 foot tall or whatever, get a fucking big sword, go right through your bicep. You're not just going to go, yeah, whatever, I'm going to pull it out by the blade and then just carry on fighting. You're going to be like going, ah! It just doesn't, and your arm is completely crippled. You're not moving that arm anymore. So just little bits like that, just pissed me off a little bit. They didn't need to do that. They could have kept it.
Let's keep it flowing.
No, they could have kept it with fucking normal humans. A man with a fucking big sword chopping his people's heads off.
I thought
some big dude with a couple of fucking big swords or something. Just a big hard bastard.
Well, I think Mr. Knife Hands is doing it, so we probably wouldn't break.
I think Mr. Knife Hands was a representation of a wave of like knife wielding crazy guys.
I like your idea.
But then you take off the masks of these fucking golden faced masked people and it's some kind of orc-like fucking demon mummy
Pygmy.
fucking zombie thing.
Let's just speak about there's a lot of racism accusations throughout this film now for the portrayal of the Middle Eastern people as being monsters and malformed freaks. Where we're literally fighting a war against terror on the Middle East. And whereas all the Western people are ripped to fuck jocks, never surrender, never say die, fuck a lot. Yeah. You know,
they've all got stiff upper lip. They're all English, so they've all got very good English accents.
The Scottish accents, they all seem to be Scottish, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, the actors in this film were literally bodybuilders who they then put through a grueling muscle growth program, muscle training program, and then
steroids.
No steroids, just like PT every day, just in the gym for 6 weeks. And then they still CGI'd abs into these motherfuckers.
You have to be like 3% like body fat to have those abs. Like if they want to, and that's
the CGI added bit. But these are all big dudes, aren't they? Let's face it. I mean,
are they?
I think that they're certainly built like Greeks would be.
Even
the
old dude that looked like Abraham Lincoln was ripped to fuck.
Well, he's just living that Spartan life, isn't he?
I am guessing his body was slightly CGI'd, in all fairness.
Man, there's hope for us all. I'm going to be Hollywood. I'm going to be Arnie. CGI my body, bitches. I'll do the lines.
You probably get Mr. Knife Hands.
I'll take it. No, there's no replacing the legendary Mr. Knife Hands. R.I.P.D.
How do you know he's dead?
Well, he didn't survive the film.
We didn't see it. We didn't see
He's definitely off screen.
He chopped his own head off.
When all those Spartans charge at the end, he's definitely off screen.
I want to see the prequel of Mr. Knife Hands, how he becomes Mr. Knife Hands.
How he became like 8 foot tall with like stupidly huge
knife hands.
Everything. Yeah, but no, he had like a 24-inch neck.
Yeah.
No, probably bigger than that. Like
magic.
His neck was as thick as my waist, kind of thing. It was just.
I want to see his mum.
Again, he looked. He
did look a bit like Butterbean, didn't he?
Yeah, Butterbean with knife hands. Yeah.
I thought he looked a bit more like Krang off of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He was kind of built like Krang, but with weird octopus arms that were actually knives at the end.
No,
I think we can say Mr. Knife Hands is the unsung hero of this film.
I think he is.
Maybe.
Executed all the Persian generals in cold blood because they've displeased the god King Xerxes. Speaking of people losing their heads, Astronaut, the captain's son, gets his head cut off by a...
They just sort of finished like a major battle.
And he's standing there like a fucking lemon.
Yeah, no, it's not. He's looking at his dad and
his dad's like, oh, I'm so proud of him right now.
Yeah.
He's
having a proper Spartan dad moment.
He's got a proper chub on him.
Man, he's like just... maybe. He's just like killed like 20 dudes. Spartan chub moment.
He's definitely my son.
And he's like, no, watch out. And the guy just chops his head off.
Yeah. Gets his head cut off and he gets ragey, doesn't he? He would like to rage now.
He breaks the lines.
He was blood drunk. He's just killing people randomly. Well, not Spartans, but killing Persians. Off on a little blood travel. Or murder travel. A murder walk. So that's what he's off on. That puts a crimp on the celebrations after that battle, the astronaut's death, because the captain rocks up and he's all covered in blood. He's obviously been out killing people, off on his own. How many scalps do you think he took?
Looking at the state of him, he looked like he'd been buggering some dead bodies, to be honest.
Who's your fascination with necrophilia in this podcast?
I get a feeling there was a bit of necrophilia involved in them days, that's all. It was how dusty he all was and that, like he was like full of blood and dust and that, and it's like, what's he been doing, rolling around all over the place?
Yeah, he's smothering himself in the blood of his fallen enemies.
But this is kind of what gave me the necrophilia vibe.
Oh, there's a big difference between smothering yourself in the blood of your fallen foes and necrophilia, Pete. No, I'm speaking of personal experience, Adam.
It's a small sidestep, I think. Only a small one.
We get the court, we get Effie out, Effie's back. He's in the court of Xerxes, which, let's face it, is a bit weird.
You got the Baphomet.
You got Baphomet, literally a Baphomet, just sat there, a goat-headed woman, goat-headed hermaphrodite, just sat there.
The music.
And then there's weird amputee strippers.
There's all sorts in there, isn't there?
There's, you know what? In Xerxes' court, there's something for everybody.
It seems that way, definitely.
Yeah.
I imagine that's where the Illuminati hung out.
What, now?
Yeah! I think you're right! There's like a Baphomet, there's amputee strippers, cocaine, there's dwarves carrying tables of drugs, there's normal strippers, there's BDSM, there's fucking everything going on.
Soft disclosure, that's all it is. Drip feeding
no one will suspect it if we leak it into 300.
Yeah. He says from us.
He says to Effie, betray the Spartans, tell them where the path is, and I'll give you everything you ever want. And he's got all these women, weird, sexy, mutated amputee,
rubbing him up,
loving his
umps,
his
lady lumps,
loving his Spartan lumps.
It's the easiest yes in history.
Ephialtes in reality, though, right, historically, was just a goat herder who decided to sell out his fellow Greeks.
Bit of a cunt then.
Yeah. Was a bit. And he says, embrace you as a god and I'll give you everything you want. Kneel. He's like, I want women, I want wealth, and I want a uniform. And he has a little cool coned hat. He gets some leather straps and a black coned hat, and I love the hat, but the straps are a bit much.
Does look a bit jester-like, I thought.
I know, but it was black and had them silver studs. I was like, that's got to be a general hat, hasn't it?
No, I'm going for jester.
He's not a jester. He's got the women. He's got the wealth.
First you get the women,
then you get the wealth. Then you get your black coned hat.
In reality, that herding man, probably was going to get killed by him. So, and he was just like, looked down there, went, there's fucking loads of them. They're going to get slaughtered. Yeah, I want the woman money. I want the wealth. I'll have the women. Why not?
Oh, yeah, he's a poor goat herd.
Yeah.
Sick of shagging goats.
You're the
Goes
goat.
to shag some amputees instead.
Yeah.
Better than a goat.
Wait.
Ben gave me a look of that's weird. As if goats were the better option. It's like, what? A woman with no arms and no legs is a better choice than a goat. Definitely.
Mr. Crowley would probably argue against that.
Don't you mean Mr. Crowley? So yeah, the Spartans are betrayed anyway. Ephialtes is going to give away the goat path that leads behind the Spartan lines, and they're going to get cut off and surrounded. And at this point, historically, Leonidas realises they're betrayed. He's posted some blokes up there. They just run away when they see the Persians. They just run. And they learn that the Persians are up at the track and they come behind them, so he sends the majority of the army home. And him and what's left of the 300 Spartans then decide they're just going to stay and fight, send as many Greek soldiers away they'll be needed for the next battle. There's him and some Thespians and some Thebans who stay.
Thespians?
Thespians as Greek city, believe it or not. And the Thebans stay as well, so there's...
Thespians stayed for the buggery, obviously.
Maybe. The Spartans were, though... They may have... Well, now back to the film. Queen Gorgo meets Theron. And he doesn't want to send the army, because Leonidas broke the law, that's what he's saying. But he hints that if he fucks her, or she fucks him, he'll help.
You'll back her.
Now, it's... So, she sort of removes her top. Presumably giving consent in that scenario, but it's still a bit rapey, isn't it?
Yeah. He was like, you're not going to enjoy this.
Is it hinted he buggers her? She does it from behind, doesn't he? You're not going to do this.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think that you've really got, yeah. It's not a pleasant scene anyway, is it? God damn, we got to cut out on that fucking CNC.
He gets his comeuppance, doesn't he?
He does. So yeah, the Arcadians fuck off and the Spartans stay to die. Remember, no retreat, no surrender. Spartan law. He stands there and Leonidas gives a little speech going, eat hearty, tonight we dine in hell.
It's a good one.
Yep.
He sends Delos back, who's lost an eye to Sparta, to tell the tale of the 300. Historically, 3 guys left Thermopylae. 2 because they were too sick to fight, and 1 because he didn't want to stay and die. They offered him the choice. He went back to Sparta, was completely shunned and humiliated by absolutely everybody, and kicked out of Spartan society, basically. Turned up at the battle after Thermopylae, wielding 2 swords, delved in the enemy ranks, killed as many as he could before he was taken down. Death by suicide by Persian army.
Well, the rest of them sort of suicided themselves as well.
Well, I suppose they did, yeah. You're right. So, Leonidas sends his wife's necklace back with Delos, and says what's left of the 300 is just left. The Queen Gorgo finally gets to go to talk to the council, and Theron fucks her over. She wants to send the army, and he's like, oh, you offered yourself to me, and you fucked Abe Lincoln over there. Didn't you? You fucked Abe Lincoln. And if I was a weaker man, I might have fucked you, but I wasn't. Don't come into my fucking house and tell me how to do shit, bitch, basically.
He's totally lying.
Yeah, but it's like...
scumbag, wasn't he?
He's a scumbag. He's like, removed from the chamber. She grabs a guard's short sword and just stabs him through the gut.
Yes.
Twists it a bit.
Yeah.
Guts it, and yeah, nice.
Like a fish.
And then whispers to him basically the exact same line that he whispered to her whilst he was doing her up the batty.
You won't enjoy this.
Yeah.
This won't be quick.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be. Also, but the main thing is, for some reason, Theon has gone to the Spartan council with a large bag of Persian gold secreted around his midriff.
Yeah.
And she stabs him through that, and all this Persian gold falls out with clearly what is Xerxes' face on the coins, because no one else is a large, bored, pierced man. So yeah, they'll go, traitor, traitor, and it's like, oh, we better send the army then, I guess. Too late. Leonidas and the Spartans on their last legs.
And he gets one more chance, doesn't he, to surrender?
He does. They're in kind of, I want to say it's like, the Roman formation, the testudo, the tortoise, so they all lock their shields and make a square. The Spartans have kind of got a circular version of that going on. The shield ring, I guess. And he gets one last chance to surrender, and Ephialtes, he's like, do it, Leonidas, save your men. And he's like, live forever, baby. Not baby, live forever. Hope you live forever, you sold us out, you twat. Leonidas, he is offered the old warlord of Greece deal again. Deal. And he takes his helmet off, drops his shield, drops his spear. At this point, he thinks he's actually going to do it. He doesn't. Xerxes is like, hey, he gets up, arms in the air. Hey, got myself a new buddy. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. He throws his spear. He couldn't see in the helmet. The spear threw him off balance. He grazed his cheek. He shows that a god can bleed, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's having sort of reminiscent of the wolf, isn't he, that he killed back in the day.
Yeah, it's like it all started with that moment and it's ending in this moment. The Spartans just start getting sort of overrun. They're getting killed by arrows. At this point, like, historically, there's not many Spartans left. Leonidas dies fairly early on in this final skirmish. A little war breaks out over his body because the Persians want to take it off and take it as a trophy. The Spartans want it back to stop that happening for as long as possible. Shields break, spears break, swords break. The Spartans at the end, by the end, with Leonidas' body, there's literally a dozen or so of them left apparently. They're down to fists and teeth.
Thrown all their spears.
All the spears are broken. There's none left. They got nothing. and they go down to a hail of arrows. Thus ends the last stand
Which
of
is
the
pretty much
300.
what happens in the film,
Which is pretty much what was in the film.
but shortened.
Yeah.
End in a hail of arrows.
So everyone dies. We then skip forward a little bit. Dilos, old one-eyed bloke, he goes back, he meets a queen, he hands her the necklace, and he says, I'm going to come back to make sure that we remember the 300, the army's too late to be assembled. Remember us, fight for Greece, fight for Sparta, and now there's 10,000 Spartans leading 30,000 other free Greeks, and they all charge and they all win to victory.
About a year later it was.
And the Persians get whooped.
Yep, in the sequel.
In the sequel. Well, no, not really. I don't know if I've never watched that movie.
I have watched it once, I didn't like it.
It's about the naval battle, isn't it? The sequel, 302. Mind you, you really want to do a Gladiator 2.
Mm.
Yeah, all the plots involve time travel or something.
Oh, fucking hell.
Or one plot involved Maximus being like some kind of angel of death going through history.
Well, that'd be interesting, actually.
It would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Now, if you go to the site of Battle of Thermopylae today, you'll find a large lion monument, and underneath a poem. Go tell the Spartans passer-by that according to Spartan law, we lie. So yeah, 300 and the Battle of Thermopylae.
Good movie.
Obviously not very historically accurate.
Must have been a pretty awesome battle to be commemorated like that with a stone, though.
Well, that's the thing, because it's a defeat, isn't it? They lost. But it's the manner of it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
It's gone
And
down
let's
in
face
history,
it,
hasn't it?
Everyone secretly wants to be in our last stand.
Something Leonidas said
Don't they?
earlier.
Am I the only one?
He says the world will know that free men stood against a tyrant, and that's what's remembered, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been in a last stand against zombies, but
Why?
If you're stuck in if you're in a last stand, you'd be like, this isn't a bad way to go. Like completely outnumbered, like Zulu, or that's the last stand, other than they won.
Are we going to make a week without Zulu mentioned at all? I don't think we will.
You know what, Pete? It's my next movie pick. Fuck it.
No, it's not.
It is.
It can't be. We can't. We have to be able to,
Veto
that one.
Why not?
So we're not sitting here for 7.5 hours.
It's not 7.5 hours long.
Fucking feels like it.
Well, you know what? I enjoyed this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Good
alright
film.
overall.
Yeah,
What would you give it?
7.6 on IMDb. I'd probably go a little bit higher, only slightly, about 7.8, 7.9.
I'll go 8.1. I think it's
Yeah.
an 8 out of 10 film.
for me,
Visually stunning.
Yeah, it's a good story. Yeah, they take a lot of, artistic license with it. Oh, it's a bit racist in places, but
A bit racist.
I think the visuals are stunning. Fight scenes are great. Story's brilliant. Acting's good. Yeah. I loved it.
for me, I've watched it time and time again. When it's been on TV over the years. So if I keep on watching it, it's got to be alright, worth watching.
Nothing to do with the buff men.
No,
No?
it's the killing.
No? Nice.
I'd give it a solid 7. If it wasn't for the bullshit monstery things, it would be a solid 8.
See, I quite like that.
No, I just
Being a
think-
fan of sci-fi and fantasy
Yeah, I know,
and
but
stuff.
it's not a sci-fi. If it was a sci-fi, I'd like it, but it's not. It's supposed to be a
Just
historical.
trying to spice it up.
I
mate.
know, but it's meant to be historical, and then they do that, so it's a bit. But
It looks
it's
cool
still,
though, doesn't it?
It's still got a 7.
Mr. Knife Hands is pretty cool looking.
You can't not miss an iPad cinematic breakthrough.
I do still like the film. I found it slightly cheesy the second time round.
It is cheesy.
It has got a bit
In the
cheesy
earlier-
with time, I'll give you that.
Only in the first 20 minutes. I'd
It's
say.
probably been about 5 years since I watched that film in full. And I thought, some of the bits I was like, wow, this is a bit cheesy, isn't it? At places.
Yeah.
Hasn't aged as well as I remembered. But still, you know what? So there's some
Stunning
iconic
visuals.
There's some iconic fucking moments. The Sparta kick into the
Yeah.
well. This is Sparta. That's iconic now. That's in public lexicon, isn't it? You know, the whole "this is Sparta."
Yeah. And there's enough blood.
It's a meme, mate. It's a meme. That's exactly what it is.
There's enough blood like Starship Troopers as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah. We've done a Starship Troopers movie episode.
Have you?
Yeah.
Love that film.
Me too.
Yeah.
Fucking love it.
It was on the other night.
I know, I watched it.
Oh, it's on Disney Plus.
Just on the TV the other night, I just put it on.
Yeah.
Second one's shite. Third one's shite, but better. But still, right, 300. I think that's an episode. Right, thank you very much for listening. I've been Ben. Don't join the flame parade. Don't join a cult.
I've been Mike, thanks for listening. Peace out, may the force be with you.
And I've been Claire, keep an open mind, but not so open that it spills out your ears.
And I've been Pete. Enjoy your week. Take care.